This so far is my favorite romance book of all time. It is considered a cozy fantasy, which just sounds so pleasant. Reading is like exactly what I need for entertainment. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Macy. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. So glad that you're here. I am excited about this video because this is like just one of my greatest passions in life right now, and it's so fun just to be able to talk about it and share with you guys. So today is a book related video, hence why we're sitting in front of my bookshelves. It is currently Sunday afternoon and we went to church this morning. I put my big oversized t-shirt on and some biker shorts. I'm comfy. I'm mildly sunburnt from being on the beach yesterday. It's like a quintessential Sunday in the summer, and it's just so great and so fun. Now here's the thing. If you're new here, I do a lot of motherhood, lifestyle type content. Also, I do a lot of baking content because I own a micro bakery. So book content is not necessarily the niche of this channel, but the point of my YouTube channel is that I want the niche to be whatever I'm interested in, and it's just so fun for me to be able to have a creative outlet where I can talk about things that I love and things that I'm enjoying. So something about me is that I am a chronic hobby jumper. However, reading has been my absolute most favorite hobby for over 6 months now. I just have recently rediscovered my love for reading, and it has really changed my life in so many ways. I wasn't a huge reader growing up. I read Harry Potter in high school, and that was life-changing in and of itself. And I read things like the Hunger Games and stuff when they were coming out, but I never would have called myself an avid reader. And I actually remember as a young child really dislike reading. I felt like it was a chore, that people were forcing me to do it. And then like a few years ago, earlier in my 20s, I read the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and that definitely changed my life as an adult reader. But at the same time, it almost made reading really hard for me. Like I remember finishing ACOTAR and being like, oh my goodness, everything that I'm trying to read now is just bad. It was like ACOTAR was so good that I could not find something that, you know, just like quenched what I was looking for. And so I didn't read for a while after that. And then in the beginning of 2024, I stumbled across BookTube, which I didn't know was a thing. BookTube is just a little corner of YouTube. It's not like a separate website. It's just book content on YouTube that I just didn't know existed. And actually the first BookTuber I ever found, her name's Maddie Covington, and she also has a Bookstagram, so an Instagram account for her books. I'll link her down below. I really enjoy her videos, but that kind of just like opened up this whole new world to me, and I have been obsessed with reading ever since. And now here's the thing. If you start watching BookTube content, you'll see these people doing like reading vlogs and like 24-hour reading challenges and these like big monthly TBRs, which if you're new to the reading community, TBR means to be read. So just like what you plan on reading. And the reality is that I can't really make that type of content very often because I don't read as much as those people do. Like I can't read 3 books in 1 week. I just don't have the time because I'm a mother and I'm a business owner, and obviously I'm making content here on YouTube and on Instagram, and I own a micro bakery. And so my life is very full. I can't make a video where I read 3 books in 1 week. I wish, and maybe if I didn't have a micro bakery, I absolutely could do something like that, but not in this season of life. So with that being said, I really want to share my love of reading on this channel. I always told myself that I want this YouTube channel to remind people that you don't have to be just about one thing, right? Like I am Macy. I am a mom. I am a wife. I am a church member, I'm a friend, I'm a business owner, I like to read, I like to do crafts, I like to play outside with my kids, I love nature, like I love all of these different things. And the reality is that social media, if you want to grow a platform, they always tell you to niche down, because focusing in on one specific thing will help your platform grow, because the chances of somebody liking everything that you like too is low. But I'm going out on a limb here and I want to make a book video because I like to talk about books, and ever since I started talking about books on my Instagram especially, I've met so many amazing people and so many people who have been following me that have the same reading interests as me. So I am excited to make this video and I hope that you guys enjoy it and are inspired maybe to pick up some new books. Something that I will preface before I start talking and yapping is that, well, I've already been yapping, but you know what I mean. Something that I just want to say beforehand is that I read for entertainment 100%, especially in this season of life. Besides my own personal study of scripture, like I do my devotions in the morning and oftentimes join Bible studies at my church, I do not read a lot of nonfiction. And for me, reading is like the equivalent of sitting down to watch a TV show or a movie. I don't watch TV. I don't really like TV. I don't like movies. It just is not fun for me. However, reading is like exactly what I need for entertainment. It stimulates my brain and I just love it. So it is truly entertainment for me. So just keep that in mind as we're reading. I'm not reading classics over here right now. I'm reading 100% for vibes, and I am so okay with that. And I hope that you can be okay with that too. I know that some people can have this like weird relationship with reading where they feel guilty if they're not reading something that is like helping them learn something new or personal development or things like that. I am reading 100% for fun, and that has been so life-changing to me and has also allowed me to maybe like dabble in other like types of nonfiction and things like that and actually enjoy it a little bit more because I am reading so much for fun. So I'm gonna pause my little intro here that was like 4 billion years long, and I'm gonna give you guys a little tour of the bookshelf, and then I'm gonna talk about books that I read recently that I've loved, and then I'm also gonna talk about what is on my TBR, what books I have physically up here that I am working through and looking forward to reading. Okay, I moved you guys back a little bit so that you could see this full thing, and I'm just gonna like sit on my chair and kind of explain what we have going on here. So I don't have a ton of books, but if you are into books, you will learn that reading books and buying books are two different hobbies. And unfortunately, I like both. There's something so fun about buying a book and adding it to your shelf and just the satisfaction that that brings. I also think that books are beautiful. I like having physical copies of books, especially ones that I've enjoyed. I do read on my Kindle a lot as well, which I don't have with me. I should have brought it for this video, but oh well. I read on my Kindle all the time, and I do have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. So on my Kindle, I only ever read books that are available on KU. I don't really buy books for my Kindle. I'll also use the Libby app and have the books sent to my Kindle oftentimes that way. Libby is an app that a lot of libraries partner with, so you like put it in your library card info. So reach out to your library if you don't know what Libby is. But then yes, I have my bookshelves here as well, which is a little growing collection, and I love it. These bookshelves are like built in. We recently moved and I painted these this beautiful like sage green color. The color is, I know I'm gonna get asked, so it's Svelte Sage from Sherwin-Williams, and it is so stunning. I love it. And so I'll kind of run through what I have up on my shelves here real quick. Right here, I have my Throne of Glass series, which is a book series that I'm reading through right now. So we'll talk about it in a little bit. And then I have some of the Chronicles of Narnia books right here. And then in the corner over there, right here, we have the first 4 Harry Potter books in the illustrated versions. I don't know if they've come out with the rest of the books yet in the illustrated versions, so I'll have to look that up. I haven't purchased any of the newer ones recently, so that is right there. And then behind me, I'm gonna like pop myself up on the chair here, if that works. So right here, I have some romance books, and really just kind of like some thrillers. There's kind of a mix of genres right here, but we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, which was actually left in my little free library. We have a little free library at the end of our driveway, which is so cute, and somebody recently added it, and I haven't read it yet, and I know that The Housemaid is like a super popular thriller, so I'm excited to read that. And then we have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and then we have Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis, I think is how you say it, I'm not sure. And then we have The Ministry of Time, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen. I don't know. And then we have Where the Crawdads Sing. And then up here, our last shelf, this is all fantasy books. So we have the Fourth Wing series. There's only the first two books are the only ones out. I think that the third one comes out in January of 2025. And then we have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. We have The Cruel Prince. We have One Dark Window. And then we have my ACOTAR series box set. I'm missing the second book right now because somebody's borrowing it from me. But those are all of my fiction books. The other side of my bookshelves over there, you can't see them, are all of my nonfiction books. So, but we're just focusing on the fun fiction books. So I'm gonna readjust my camera and then we're gonna start talking about some more like specific book recommendations that I have that I've loved recently, and also books that are up here that I have not read yet. So let's jump right into it. Okay, first we're gonna talk about books that I have read that I want to recommend to you guys if you're looking to getting into reading. So we're gonna just go through a few of them and then I'll give you like a brief synopsis of what they're like. The whole video will be spoiler free because nobody wants to have a book spoiled for them. So let's jump right into it. I will start with romance books first. So to give you an idea of the genre I like to read contemporary romance and fantasy mostly, with a sprinkling of thrillers. Sometimes I like something that's going to keep me on the edge of my seat, or like a mystery, something like that. So first genre is going to be romance. So this book right here, this is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This so far is my favorite romance book of all time. You can see I tabbed it up, which some people might think is weird, but the reason that I do this is because when I know that I'm gonna love a book so much and there are quotes that are really standing out to me, I like to tab certain things so that I can flip through it again and read what I've tabbed and highlighted, and it's almost like I'm rereading the book without actually rereading it. So this follows our main character, Clementine. She lives in New York City, and her aunt, who passes away, leaves her apartment to her in New York City in her will. And so we're following Clementine. It's just in her point of view, and there's some magical realism happening. So there's magical realism in this book, which means that it's not like a fantasy book. It's a book that's taking place in normal New York City. How this book works is every once in a while when Clementine enters her aunt's apartment, she is put 7 years in the past. And so she meets some people along the way, and there's a romance. And what I love about this book is that there are some themes that go so much deeper than just a fluffy little romance. It talks a lot about grief as she is walking through losing her aunt, who she was really close to. And it really touched me a lot personally, as I've lost somebody that I've loved in my life. And so I cannot highly recommend this enough. So good. Okay, next series. This is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is a fluffy romance. Like, this doesn't have deep themes like The 7-Year Slip did, but there is a time and place for a book like this. I oftentimes read romance books like this in between books of a fantasy series, just to kind of like give myself a little palette cleanser. There are currently 2 books in the series, and the third one comes out I think in the fall of 2024. So I'm excited about that. But this follows our 2 main characters, Emmy and Luke, I think. Yeah, Luke. And so it takes place on a ranch in Wyoming, and she runs into her brother's best friend, and their romance unfolds from here. I should mention, in 7-Year Slip, there is no spice. There is some spice in this book, so it's pretty easy to skip if that's not something that you're interested in, but such a cute, just like fluffy romance. And something that I loved about this book and the second book in the series, I have read the second book as well, and I actually liked it a little bit more. It's called Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage, but there is no like real huge third act breakup, which sometimes can just ruin a romance book for me if everything's going so well and then all of a sudden there's like an unnecessary conflict just for the sake of having a conflict. I'm like, that's just very annoying to me. So I like how there is intrigue in the story and a plot, but it's not like super annoying and superficial at the end. So love this book. Okay, last romance book recommendation. I'm so sad. I got this book from Book of the Month, and I lost the dust jacket when we moved, which is just tragic. But this is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And I read this while I was on vacation in California, and it is so good, you guys. This is, again, just another romance book that has a little bit of a deeper theme going throughout the book, as well as a romance. This follows Justin and Emma, I think are their names. I know it's Justin. I think it's Emma as well. And they have this kind of little meet cute where Justin posts on Reddit about how he has this curse, and every single time he dates somebody, as soon as they break up, that person goes on to find their soulmate and they end up getting married. And Emma sees this post on Reddit and is like, oh my goodness, same, I have that happen to me too. And so it's kind of them connecting, and they end up meeting in person, and their romance unfolds, and it's just very cute, but also, like I said, has some like deeper themes going on throughout the book, and it's really great. I will say I did not know that this is actually part of a connected standalone series. So Abby Jimenez has 2 books before this book that happen. It's Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and then Yours Truly. And I'm so bummed that I didn't read them in order. I've been told that it doesn't really matter, but there are some characters that like pop up in this book that you would only know if you had read the previous 2, so maybe read them in order. I haven't read the other 2 books, but I plan on going back and reading them because this was so good. Okay, we're moving on to fantasy, which has just such a special place in my heart. So I am going to first talk about A Court of Thorns and Roses. Most people have heard of this series by now, and it is just so good. Sarah J. Maas is a very talented author, and the way that she makes you feel about characters and the worlds that she builds is truly unmatched in my opinion. I remember reading this first book and thinking like, wow, that was really good. Then you read the second book and you're like, my life will never be the same because it's that good. I just remember being so enthralled by it, and it's almost hard to describe what these books are even about, but essentially you're following the main character Feyre, who is a human, and she ends up in Fey territory with the, what is even the word? I haven't read ACOTAR in a few years. Oh, the High Lord of the Spring Court. So there are multiple courts within the Fey lands. There's a Spring, there's Dawn, there's the Night Court, like all these different courts. And basically you follow her story, and there's a really amazing romance throughout this, multiple romances. You get so invested in all of the side characters. There's an amazing found family in this book of people who have just become like family, and it is heart-wrenching. You will laugh, you will cry, you will feel every emotion. And there are currently 5 books in the series, and I think another one is coming out, but they have not released the date of that yet. So I'm going to be rereading this before that book comes out. I've also heard that the graphic audiobooks are very good of this, so I might actually give these a listen the second time through, which could be fun. But I love ACOTAR. I will say there is spice in this book, in most of the books. The first 4 books would be pretty easy to skip the spice. The last book is definitely a little bit on the spicy side, so just keep that in mind if you're wanting to read them. But if you Google like spice-free guide to reading ACOTAR, there are people who have like written down what chapters or like what pages to skip if you want to skip over the spice. So you can do that as well. But ACOTAR, so good. All right, well, stay with Sarah J. Maas while we're on the topic, but this is another series written by her called Throne of Glass. I am actually in the middle of reading the series. It's an 8-book series. Yes, 8 books, which is a lot of books. And as you can see back here, some of them get pretty thick, but oh my goodness. Like I said, Sarah J. Maas is just insane. She is so good at writing characters. But again, like, it's almost hard for me to tell you what this book is about because I can already tell you I'm 4 books in, and I can tell that we're just like tipping the iceberg of all the craziness that's about to unfold. But essentially we're following our main character. Her name is Selena, and she's an assassin, and we're following her life as she like, I just really don't know what to tell you guys because I don't want to spoil anything. But all I can tell you is that she is such a likable character. She's so good. And the way that Sarah J. Maas makes you so emotionally attached to the characters that you meet throughout this book is is so good. A little note on reading order for this book. So Throne of Glass is this book right here is the first book that was published. And then the fourth book that was published is actually a prequel to everything else. It's called Assassin's Blade. And there's a lot of debate on what order you should read the series in. If you should read it in the published order where you read the first 3 books, then the prequel, and then continue on. Or if you should read the prequel first and then just go through the whole series. I did do that. I read Assassin's Blade first and actually really enjoyed that. From what I know, basically what I hear is no matter what order you read it in, you're going to think that that's the best way, and that's fine. So take it with a grain of salt. But I did read Assassin's Blade first, which is the prequel, and then I jumped into Throne of Glass, and I really enjoyed it that way. So take that for what you will, but highly recommend the Throne of Glass series. Last series that I'll recommend that was also so fun for me as I've been getting back into reading is Fourth Wing. This is part of there's the name for this series, but I can't even remember what it is. There's currently 2 books out in the series, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. This is by Rebecca Yarros, and this follows our main character, Violet, and she's a dragon rider, so that's a really fun element of the Fourth Wing series, is that there's dragons and some other creatures and stuff like that, and it is truly so fun. It takes place at a school, and so that's kind of a fun setting as well, where she's training to be a dragon rider. And there's a romance between her and Xaden, and it's just so good. So highly recommend this book series. Iron Flame also, the ending of Iron Flame had my jaw on the floor, like actually crazy. So highly recommend Iron Flame. Or not Iron Flame, this is Fourth Wing, but also Iron Flame if you finish Fourth Wing. Before we close out today's video, I want to share 3 books with you guys that I'm really excited to read in the future. So I guess this is like my little TBR. So like I said, I am currently reading through the Throne of Glass series. So I'm currently reading Heir of Fire, and it's already so great. I just started it. But basically what I do is I'll read a book in the Throne of Glass series, and then I'll read like 1 or 2 books outside of the series just to like keep things fresh. And I feel like I enjoy fantasy series way more when I don't burn myself out on them. So here are a few books that I am excited to read in between books through the Throne of Glass series. The first one is The Ministry of Time by, let's see, what's her name? Callie-Ann Bradley. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. First of all, look at this cover. This is just so pretty. I got this from Book of the Month, and this is, I think it's technically considered a sci-fi book, which I have never read a sci-fi before, so I'm excited for it because of that. But it is a time travel book where in the world time travel exists, and they essentially start bringing people from the past to the future. I don't really know why, but then there's kind of like a romance between this person who's kind of like teaching this guy how to live in the modern world, and I think that there's like other stuff going on. It's almost like a thriller sci-fi romance something. I don't know. It just sounded so interesting to me, and I've heard really good things about it. So I am incredibly excited to read this one. Next book is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Foggett. I don't know how to say that. I've heard a lot of really amazing things about this book. It is considered a cozy fantasy, which just sounds so pleasant. I feel like this would be a really great book to read in the springtime, but I'm gonna read it soon probably. I don't know a ton about this, but I do know that basically this woman, she travels somewhere to study these fairies that inhabit the land, and then her like academic rival ends up going there too, and she is not a very likable person, and the townspeople in this place don't really like her, but her academic rival is like very winsome, and the townspeople like him, and then there ends up being a cute little like innocent little romance between the two of them as they're studying these fairies. It just sounds so cute and enjoyable, and it's like pretty short. I think it's less than 400 pages. Yeah, it's like less than 350. So super cute and excited to read this one. Last book I'm very excited to read is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This I've heard so many good things about. I actually have no idea what this is about. I've heard that there's a very cool magic system in this book. This is a fantasy book. There's 2 books in the series. It's One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, I think. And I'm pretty sure this is the book where there's these like playing cards, essentially like a deck of cards, and that has something to do with their magic system. I don't know. All I've heard is that every single time someone reads this, they give it like 4 or 5 stars. So I'm kind of just going by the recommendations of others. But I also love going into a book completely blind. Like, I would rather not really know much about what's gonna happen and then just be really surprised and happy that way. So this is high up on my TBR as well, and I am very, very excited to start reading it. Okay, that was a lot of me talking. If you made it here, thanks. Because like I said, this is my opportunity to sit here and talk about books, right? And I don't get that very much because I don't have a ton of people in my personal life besides my like BFF Anna. Anna, you get the shout out in the video because I know that you watch my videos. It's just fun to be able to talk about books that you love. And I've been thinking, I was like, I really wish I had a book club. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll start a little book club or something here on the internet or something. I don't know, we'll see. But if you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe down below. Also, check out my other videos. Like I said, this video is a little bit like new for me, a little different. And I do lots of like daily vlogs and content on my micro bakery and that kind of stuff. So if you like that type of thing, make sure that you subscribe as well. You can follow me on Instagram for more real-time updates and stories and things of that nature. And I'm so thankful that you're here. Thank you and have a good one.